Hail to the king, baby.
What's happening, everybody? It's it's Michael B. Welcome back to the channel, and I am so thrilled tonight because it's a personal milestone for me because it's the first time I've ever got to stream with David. I've been waiting 5 years for this, so I'm pretty excited. And on top of that, the whole team from Iconic Arcade is here. We've got John, we've got Bobby Vu. Bobby, you're not going to take us on a tour of your arcade tonight, are you? Last time I was on stream with you were all over the place.
Yeah. Next time. Not
Next
tonight.
time. Okay, sounds good. Anyways, thank you so much, John, for reaching out and setting this up. I'm honored that you wanted to do this. Very honored to talk about what you're doing. It's very cool in the community. I know some assholes have been out there talking about the side art. I think they've got mental problems or something. I don't know. But anyways, outside of that, amazing product. Let's get into it. John, how the hell are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us. We're excited to all talk to you and the community. I know there's tons of questions, and you'll see Bobby's camera go left and right and all that from time to time.
Something wrong with my camera. What the hell? Something's my phone. Something's on my phone. I gotta flip it back and flip it again. It turns back to my screen.
A little bit of the roles here. Bobby Vu, he is a tech guy. He's our tech guy, even though his camera will be kind of moving around during the stream. He's definitely helpful in with our software development, our designs, UI, customer service, all that kind of stuff. And then DMac here, I loved when I was thinking about who to work with, he was the number one person that I wanted to work with on the marketing and PR side. He's definitely instrumental in bringing brands from ground zero into national brands. So again, this is part of the team. Again, people who aren't here, like Sean Nisselbrook, who also helps design. And then we're definitely excited. We've got a lot of cool coverage from CES, and we're rolling, and we're striving our best to make something that everyone can be proud of.
Yeah, you guys actually won an award for Best in CES. Was that a surprise? Like, were you expecting that? And what does that mean for your first outing to have that kind of coverage right away?
I think for me, there's a few CES awards, but this one in particular means a lot to me because it's based on the design, the actual product design, and that's something that I really worked with our team. We want to basically have what the community has been missing, and so having this particular design, even the choices of the art and everything, even the side art and all that stuff, we're very honored to be recognized by Yanko Design, who really focuses on the product design. And then also the Forbes magazine, all of that stuff. I mean, it's really cool, for a new company to get that kind of coverage. So we're very honored.
Yeah, that was wild. So I know there's somebody else that's going to be joining the stream. So John, you just give me the sign when you want me to bring that person in. But I've got a question for you first, John. And David, this is one for you to answer as well because it fits. What made you guys want to jump back into the home arcade community after leaving Arcade1Up?
You want me to go first, Johnny, or you want to take a crack at that? Sure. So to answer your other question, all that PR was intentional. None of it was a surprise. We had worked closely with Yanko Design, CNN, Forbes, all the press that you saw cover us at CES. that was an incredible reception. We kind of thought if someone is willing to cover us in such a short time frame, we're happy. And the fact that we got who we did, alongside all of the incredible support from the YouTube community and the arcade community, it was overwhelming. And even our partners at Eldome and Medion were just overwhelmed with what a community. They're like, we've done toy products before, but we've never experienced this level of fandom. Like, this is crazy. And we're like, it's just getting started. You wait, give us a call in 5 years and let us know how you're feeling. But to circle back to the other question, what made us want to get back to the arcade space, I never wanted to leave, truthfully. So the fact that I had an opportunity immediately after, I actually during CES, I don't know if Bobby or Johnny remember, we had a night on the town, and we had a great time.
Hangover night? Was that the hangover night?
It was the hangover night.
Oh my gosh! Whatever stays in Vegas happens in Vegas. Stays in
Whatever
Vegas.
happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Oh my
I'm not
gosh,
gonna-
Bobby, you
I'm
are
not
a beast.
disclosing.
I'm gonna tell you that. Oh my gosh.
We'll disclose anything.
Oh, God.
I don't know what happened, but I know when the guys broke into your suite for the Iconic Arcade, John, you and Mason came out of the bed at the same time. I was like, what happened?
We shared the same room, not the same bed. Okay.
There's two beds in bed. There's two beds in the room.
There, okay. So I just want to get that straight.
We had a good time. What I was getting at was, I think we had kind of like a bro moment when we're all like, look, like this is such a passionate industry to be a part of. Neither one of us wanted to leave, and I don't want to speak for John, but this was an opportunity we both had seen on the sidelines. I was at Arcade 1Up when I had heard about Iconic Arcade, and I thought what they were doing was so cool. I thought it was just the right idea. It needed some changes. It's so funny because one of the things I had initially thought was all they need to do is take the artwork approach, focusing on some IP and really drill it home. And then when I first started talking to John about the project, he's like, we've addressed everything you could think of and more. And he wasn't wrong about that.
Yeah. For me, it's always been my passion, right? So I mean, I started in basically corporate video games, and then look, like I said in those videos, I lived in the arcade just like every one of us in my age group. And so going back into making arcade cabinets was always going full circle for me. And I felt there's unfinished business. Look, after Arcade 1Up, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do yet, but I didn't think I even was able to do what we're doing now. And so getting this, calling, getting the support and same support of my friends and mentors and family, and especially my father, it was something that just organically happened. And Bobby can tell you, we've had a rough year. And I think all of this has been meant to be. Yeah. And so I'm in it now because there's unfinished business.
Yeah.
Bobby, tell me why you're back in the community.
Bobby never left,
long
man.
story short, yes, I did left the community for quite a while due to family issues. And then John and Adam Cobb and Scotty Retro, my boy Scotty, they came and talked to me, convinced me to come back, especially you guys. Thank you, John. And it's all about the passion, guys.
Yeah. That's it.
I'm all passionate about the games back in the days, 80s and 90s, which I grew up. Now I'm here for you guys to bring all the memories back and more.
Yeah, John, not John, Bobby, you've been around for a very long time. I remember when I first got started talking to people in this community, when I got really interested in stuff, everybody was like, you got to meet Bobby. And Bobby would always pop into the stream clean like a mother. Like, you were always there. You did a lot of stuff with iArcade. You're known in the modding community very heavily, especially on the kind of emulation side, that stuff.
Oh, I did it all. I did every company out there. I mod all our company, even Toy Shock. I even mod that too.
You were at CES.
That's a POS. I even made that even better.
Did you run across those?
Yeah.
Bobby, why are you excited about joining up? Because you've always been like a community person before, but now you're going, legit, and you're joining this company and getting in on this side. Why the transition? Why do you feel comfortable doing that now?
Okay, when I was a little kid, my dream job was working at arcade, community, in arcade, industry. And I'm very excited. There's lots of things I really want to show you guys, but I will make this happen. I want to thank John, Adam Cobb, to bring me back into this community, into the hobby, and make it better for the future of all.
That's awesome.
I'm
man.
excited and I can't wait. I can't wait. There's a lot more on the table, guys. A lot more.
So that's a common theme. I mean, we're back. We love to be back because this is what we love to do. This gives us purpose, right? This gives it's not just work for us. It's fun and it makes
Yes,
the
I
hard
can
work.
guarantee the communities I will be watching each and every one what y'all want. And me and John D and other teams we will sit down and discuss what the community wants and we will make this happen. And I'm very confident that everyone will be happy in the near future. Okay.
So we got a $2 super chat here from
He's doing
Steps
his
Gaming.
his own cameraman work in real time.
$2 super chat from Steps Gaming with a nice message for you, Bobby. Bobby Vu is an arcade hero I trust to die for. So, I mean,
Thank you,
obviously,
Steps.
I've seen people that absolutely hate the concept of Arcade 1-Up say, well, I know it's going to be good because Bobby Vu's involved. So, I mean, yeah, that's a testament to what you mean to the community.
Thanks, MB.
All right, I've buttered you up enough now. I need to get to the real hard question.
It's true though. It's true. I mean, Bobby. Everyone knows Bobby Vu and how just giving he is. You know how he's just that person who's very selfless. And I told him, there's a reason why bad things happen to good people.
Yeah,
there's a reason. So we're just gonna go forward.
So, John, this is actually a great segue to this.
Okay.
How did you choose your team, like the people you put together? Because obviously a lot of people left 1-Up, people that you had previous relationships with, so it makes sense. But you actually went outside of, finding these other people, and you went and picked people from the community too. You've got Bobby, of course. You've also got Sean Misselbrook doing the art, who's a wonderful community creator for art packages for these cabinets. How did you choose the people you wanted to work with?
I wanted to pick the Avengers of the home arcade community.
Yes.
As well as I wanted to pick the best people that I worked with in the past who are the best of what they do, whether it's Justin Wong, or DMac or other people I can't mention at this time. But it's really about picking the best of the best and with who has the same vision. So that's how I picked the team, and also picking a team. Look, I said I went to other companies, and I wanted to pick the right company who was willing to, share the vision that DMac and Bobby and Sean and Adam and all of us have. And so that's, we have a company, Iconic Arcade, who, they tried it, and it doesn't really fit within our community, but they're very open. We're working with a Lenovo subsidiary, Medion, who has an extensive, they work with like top of the line laptops, computers, gaming devices, and also LDOM. Shouts out to Peter and Bianca. So it's a group who's willing to kind of let our egos aside and do everything what's best for the product.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I kind of asked that when you did your stream from the suite, but how did you choose Iconic Arcade? Because I know you did, knock on a couple doors, and it was interesting because some should have been 100% slam dunks, but they didn't see your vision, I guess, at that time.
Yeah, they didn't see the vision because they're kind of, they wanted to stay in their lanes.
Yeah,
it's just, I'm all about that, right? If you are just going to do desk stuff and do that, right? If you want to try something more, I was like, hey, you know what? Like, are you willing to expand it? No, they had to share the vision of what I wanted and what the team wanted. And it was to basically make more arcade authentic recreations. And so, so like the story goes, for people who didn't hear this. Yeah, I went to a couple companies and sometimes we got close, but it just, it didn't feel right for both of us. And then I saw Iconic Arcade, over about a year and a half ago when it was a year and a half ago, almost 2 years, where they announced their Canada product at GameStop, right?
Yeah,
and
about
so
2 years ago.
Yep. And so there's really not many companies who are already doing major retail. So I knew they had the potential, and I couldn't find anyone in my network to reach out to them. So I kind of went to their website after New Year's, kind of had an epiphany, and basically put a customer service ticket in and say, hey, do you want to talk? And then the rest is history.
So do you know that a little while ago I did a video? So as much as people want to believe in these conspiracies and stuff
Right.
behind the scenes, I did a couple videos on Iconic Arcade because they actually did big price cuts here in Canada.
Yep.
And a lot of the downfalls of Iconic Arcade, the original model, you can overlook when it's a certain price, right? So I
Sure.
started saying, guys, like they're putting their Iconic Arcade on sale right now, 299 Canadian. The control panels on sale for $50. These are pretty good products. The funny thing was, somebody from their media team actually reached out to me and was like, "Thank you so much for covering our product. Do you want to be connected with us and know about like other things we have coming and a potential US release?" I was like, "Sure, that'd be amazing." Then they ghosted me.
We'll fix it. We'll
that
fix it
happens
moving
that
forward.
happens a lot, man. But yeah, people think that there's this conspiracy theory that you knew what's going on before. I'll tell you, it's funny. Like, you only knew about Iconic Arcade the day of the announcement, and you were
The
saying, oh, could
day
it be
before,
that? Well, day
day
before, right?
before, because 19K Fox told me. 19K Fox, he drinks, right? So,
Very
anyways,
much so.
he
Just had to
he
pepper that in.
yeah, he told me. He said, "Yeah, so yeah, the Iconic rumor is true." And I was like, "Get out of town," because I
I know,
remember
because you were saying there's no way. I remember you
I
saying
told you on the
there
phone
was
because you
no
were like,
way.
"Do you want an official statement?" I was like, "No, John, I don't need anything. This rumor is ridiculous."
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
Oh my
But again,
God.
like, it goes back to the theme. Really only takes one product to turn an entire
Yeah,
company, entire line around. And look, other companies, if you just want to give what the fans want, it'll turn around your brand as long as you continue to go there. It's I've seen it's happen so many times in the video game industry. Seen it at Capcom. I've seen it at, you know, um, Act Games. I've seen it so many places, right?
yeah.
So, it's like, I'm glad there's a lot of companies now in the space. It does breed quality, the competition, quote unquote. Breeds innovation, and so it's a new era in the home arcade community.
Yeah, that's an excellent segue because this does feel very different because I know a lot of things you mentioned on the other stream you were doing the other night. Like this is a project you're doing with Iconic Arcade, but it's not exclusive to Iconic Arcade. You're also working with other people as well on different things, right?
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct. I want to help the industry as a whole. The goal for Media1Up, and Media1Up's not a brand, okay? It's basically my LLC, but
Yeah.
my vision is to really have long-term success and health of the entire category. From the factories to from the factories to the retailers, the distributors, the licensed stores, to the community. Breeding a culture of cooperation versus competition
Yeah.
is kind of my goal. And so I will be working with other companies to help that goal, as long as there's no conflict of interest.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like David, the cool thing about this was one of the first times a lot of us saw you in the home arcade space, like us watching through YouTube, was we remember seeing you. I think it was CES 2020, was it, or CES 2019?
2019 would have been
2019.
our first, yeah, first CES.
2019. So you
Oh,
guys are
good.
all there, Arcade One Up tracksuits, all that stuff. And
Yep.
next thing I know, I'm watching Retro Ralph, and he's up in a hotel suite, and you're in a suit showing off the At Games Legends Ultimate. And I was like, what is
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah, that
Was it
was in
2020, 2019?
wasn't that something? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that was in 2019. So basically, how I met Arcade One Up was I worked at a toy marketing agency. It was one of my first few jobs out of college. I'd give you my career path. It's quite extensive. It was very short stints bouncing around at a few
Yeah.
different places. Basically, entertainment company in Canada. I helped launch Planet Earth 2 in Canada. That was like my big thing, was like help the planet, help people. And it was a nonprofit. I ended up working for Prince Harry. He had a charity based out of Toronto in 2017. Then the government of Britain hired me briefly after that. And then corporate America headhunted me. And that's actually where I ended up at Chiscom working for a toy agency. I was a spokesperson for hire. I represented 6 different brands, one of which was Tastemakers. And we were at a trade show. I want to say it was Toy Fair in 2019. And I was just basically showing people, no, it was 2018, sorry. And I was talking to a bunch of people. Stott, who was the client at the time, loved the way I presented his products. It was Spy Gear, Quiet Cubes,
That's right.
Hatchimals, all these kinds of like cheap, like collectible toys. I would just be the guy who talks to people just like you, Michael, at trade shows and stuff. And then one day Scott was like, "Hey, I have this idea for a home arcade machine. Do you know anything about video games?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a huge gamer. Let me help you draw up the plans to launch this." And at the time, John, I believe early on you were working with Capcom and then you became a part of the team. I don't remember where that overlap was, but I remember basically they just.
When was it? When was it where we had the CES at like the low rent area, where we just
trailer.
had like a yeah, not a trailer. No, was it CES or was it E3? No, it was E3. I think where we just had a small room. I think that's where I met you. Anyways.
So yeah, they had a private booth at E3 back in 2018. That was like before they launched in October. Back in June, they had private showings. That was when I met Scott for the first time and John. And it's so funny. There's a few. This is getting long-winded. I'll try and shorten it up. But basically, around June of 2019, I was still working for Tastemakers as their agency of record. They ended up firing my agency of record. Within a day, that agency represented At Games. I can't say anything.
I was there. I was around.
How that happened is beyond me. For you to be hired within 24 hours by a direct competitor is sus, but I can't say anything more than that.
I was there.
For 2 weeks, here I am representing At Games because I'm now that was the agency I worked for. While in conjunction, I was exploring alternative routes. And then over the 2-week window, E3 happens, and then I end up getting brought in by Tastemakers to work directly with them.
Can I interject on that one time? Real quick, sorry to interrupt you, but so when that transition happened, then we saw DMac on camera, right? Basically, being the spokesperson for At Games, and I could just tell his heart wasn't totally into it. I mean, I'll just say this from our perspective, anyway. So you know what? I think DMac should, as me and Scott were talking about it, look, he doesn't look. That's not his passion. We should take DMac in, and so yeah, I don't know if I told you that before, DMac, but yeah, we saw that you could tell that he wasn't himself, and we took it at Tastemakers as like, I think this is his home.
Well, it's funny because I'm a loyalist. Like if you give me your trust, I'll return it tenfold. Like I'm a guy who will ride to the end of time together, like arm in arm. That to me was like, I felt like I was like dating with Tastemakers, and then all of a sudden I'm forced to like, I've now, like an arranged marriage. I was like forced to like marry someone else, but I was in love with the arcade. And I was like, wow, this isn't working for me. And so it was probably like 6 days into representing or meeting At Games. We meet at E3. We have a quick meeting. They're like, "Oh, we like you. We like what you do. We've seen your videos. Would you be willing to do interviews for our product?" And then I did a few pitches for media. They loved it. Then I became their official spokesperson within 7 days' time. And I just wasn't really ready. I actually, by the way, they're a great team. Like they actually are really good people over there. They have a solid product and stuff. It wasn't necessarily at the time what I was looking to do. And then I had an opportunity to kind of continue on what I was doing. I parted ways with my agency, and the rest was history.
Yeah. I mean, like we talked earlier about like one product completely changing the perception of a company. And even though your heart wasn't into it, the Legends Ultimate did that for At Games. It put them on the map in a different place compared to what people were used to from what they made. Like the last thing I had saw from At Games before I saw the Legends Ultimate was the Sega Genesis flashback, the one that they made that looked like the Genesis. And it had one of my favorite games on it, Shakan the Forever Man. So I was all about it, but it was just bad. It wasn't good. So like, a lot of people had wrote them off. That was it. But the Legends Ultimate was awesome. Like it just did so much, had a great community behind it, completely changed everybody's perception on At Games.
Yeah,
Also,
great product.
credit where it's due. I saw behind the scenes on a lot of stuff they were working for. I won't reveal any of that, but the technology that they were working with, in my opinion, was so ahead of its time. We were talking about cloud computing into arcade machines,
Yep.
and they were just like back when Google Stadia and Amazon Luna, all the cloud consoles were in their infancy. They were also developing similar technology for arcades, and I thought, wow, this is a lot of innovation. Where we were coming from like a closed ecosystem, PCBA, that was not really open for tinkering, and these guys are like, we're running arcades in the cloud and then streaming it to devices. I was like, that's incredible. Granted, the infrastructure with internet and latency wasn't quite there, and even still isn't quite there, but it's getting really close.
Yeah. I think with them, sometimes I think they should, go smaller. Like cool ideas, but maybe go smaller a little bit.
Yeah.
They're ambitious, though. I give them that.
Yeah. So a couple of quick things here. John, you know this guy by name.
Thank
He made your
you.
hats for you.
Ezekiel, man. Thank you so
Chicago
much.
Retro Ranger 499. John D and Media1Up will take over the world. Thank you very much, Ezekiel. We also get a super chat here from Wrights Retrocade, $6.99 Canadian. And he has a really interesting question. Hey, Mike and guests and chat. John, how is it looking for getting shipping to Canada?
Well, I don't want to answer that. I do want to introduce someone who can answer that. His name is Kevin Rohr, an executive for Spreetail.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
Welcome, Kevin. Got the MVP over here.
Yeah, apparently. I guess I get the whole screen and everything there for a moment. Bobby, you see how my camera is just staying right here? It's not. It's
my
not
camera.
moving.
Something wrong. I want to reboot my phone. I don't want to get out of the screen.
No, it's awesome. So yeah, thank you for the introduction. I work in a company called Spreetail, and a few months ago, John reached out when he was looking for his distribution partner, and really trying to figure out what's his vision, what's he want to see, where does he want his product to be, how does he want to interact with fans, all those sorts of things. So I think we talked for quite a long time, and eventually we sort of said, you know what, I think we have a pretty aligned vision here, and I think we've got a partnership going. So that's what they brought me on for today, was to answer specifically the Canada question. So in honor of your near future 51st statehood, I did want to let everybody know that as of this moment, pre-orders are live in Canada through our site, which you guys have the links. But since you had to wait, and because I really want you to embrace what it feels like to be a U.S. citizen, just like the 50 states below you, you will not be paying shipping during the pre-order. So when you go in and you check out the retail, that retail is just the conversion rate from U.S. to Canada. I don't know. John's pushing me very hard on this, but math has to math. I don't know if I will be able to promise free shipping after the pre-order period. But as it stands right now, we kind of looked at where things are, and to be able to get you guys roped in and keep everyone excited, and also for the early adopters have that same experience, whether you're Canadian or, down the U.S. So free shipping, you can order it right now while supplies last.
God bless you, Kevin. That is awesome. John, why couldn't you give me a heads up, man? I got to move some stuff out now.
Well, I wanted to see your genuine reaction. And can we put Kevin in the middle? So because I think
let me figure this out. He tried to put him solo, but I'm going to see if. And then I'll.
Can you do like?
There we go.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
So I've seen a couple folks as well calling out some of the stores, and sort of if we have plans for retail. So right now everything's online for the pre-order period, but we actually have meetings starting as soon as tomorrow, where John and I are meeting with brick and mortar in Canada. So actually, that meeting is happening before the U.S. brick and mortar meetings.
Wow.
We have John. I don't know if I'm allowed to say names
Go
yet.
ahead, just say it. Just say it.
So we have been approached by the brick that is very excited about the product, and so we're gonna jump into those conversations. We're gonna make the math, and you guys will be able to get it online. You'll also be able to get it in store. Go get your hands on it, see what it looks like, feel it, do all the stuff. But that's the plan. And then I don't want to announce the names in the U.S. of the retailers yet because we have to actually open those conversations. But we also have plans for brick and mortar in the U.S. For reputable chains of good size, but not quite at the corporate Walmart, Best Buy type levels. So trying to find the best of both worlds there.
Yeah, trying to find the right fit. So I know I've got to give you a huge thank you, Kevin. Spreetail obviously did me a solid a little while back. One of the cabs we never got here in Canada, never officially got, was Capcom Legacy from Arcade1Up, the Street Fighter, not Legacy, but Deluxe. And I was so upset. I was like, I can't believe nobody's bringing this in. And then someone gave me a heads up. It's available on Amazon and through Walmart.ca through Spreetail. So thanks to you, I was able to get my Street Fighter Deluxe cab. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
that was the one I was hiding.
And there was another one you were looking for, but I'm just a big nobody on Twitter.
I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure you just blocked me, but I know there was one day you were ranting about a little Time Crisis cabinet that you wanted to get up in Canada, and I think you were crying. I'm not 100%.
I don't remember crying. I don't remember it as crying specifically.
I believe you were in tears that you were worried that Time Crisis wasn't going to be available in Canada. And I messaged you. I'm like, have no fear, John, Mike. Like, I've got this. The cabinet's available. It's in Canada. You could go buy it right now. But you probably thought it was spam and ignored it. So.
I'm sorry. I must have missed that one, man. I don't know what to say. But Kevin, tell us a little bit about yourself, because a lot of people have brought it up. They see that Time Crisis cab to the side there. So you're obviously not just doing this from the business perspective. You have a vested interest. You're a fan of this shit, right?
Yeah, well, absolutely. So part of it is just my stubborn personality, right? So we all had the high school guidance counselor that's like, hey, Kevin, what are you going to be when you grow up? What are you going to do? Meanwhile, I'm sitting here with my cargo shorts full of rolls of quarters getting ready to head to the mall on a Friday night so I can play Time Crisis, right? I'm going to game. Like, that's what it's about. No, you're not going to do that. You can't do arcades for a living. And started, I got into logistics, got into supply chain, doing what I'm doing now. And, started really diving into the category a little bit more. I already work with Arcade1Up, obviously. And, whenever you work in an area, you really want to dive in, understand the market. What do the customers want? What are the complaints? What are the opportunities? And in logistics, it's all just about solving the problem, right? There's nothing's actually impossible. It's just a matter of how do you make it work and how do you solve that problem? So, really started listening to, a lot of the complaints that people had. It's, people feel real restricted. We can only get the titles that, some big corporate faceless boardroom somewhere said, if we can order 40,000 of this part number, we can make $10 million. Meanwhile, I'm like, well, that's fine. I would love to make a ton of money. But at the same time, like, what's fun? What's interesting?
Yeah.
Do I have to order 10,000? What if someone's got a really awesome arcade and, we do a 500 unit run, a 1,000 unit run, something small, and really just get some diversification in the market, get something new and exciting. I watch, Mike, I watch your podcast when I'm working, just
appreciate
keep it up on what's happening, and all that. And it's, man, I'd like you to get some new content, brother. It's really,
I get harassed about that all the time. Everybody's like, it's a rerun.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was one point, John and I have been talking, like I said, for a couple months, and there's a lot of stuff going on that people don't know about. And I think I texted him the one night, and I'm like, man, John, I just want to like reach out to Mike B and like the community, be like, guys, like the future is so bright. Like we're seeing so many things coming. I've used the word renaissance. There's over the past couple of years, it's almost felt like we've been in kind of like a dark age for the arcade industry. And knowing the conversations that are happening, knowing the players who are getting into it, like I just want people to know it's the next 2 years are going to be gangbusters. John's here right at the forefront of it. So this is a great start. And just excited to be a part of it.
He said it. I mean, think about it. Just like press pause on this whole thing really quick and just like let's break the fourth wall for one quick second. How cool is it to have a buyer distribution partner, not only a fan in our community, engaging in our community, but also a part of it, personal gamer, invested in our success. Someone like Kevin doesn't just fall from the sky. I've only been in the industry for 7 years. I know these guys have been in here far longer than I have. But in my 7 years, it's never happened. We never once had a buyer or distribution partner come onto a live stream. And I think that just goes to show not only the reach, the network of the team behind this, but also the passion of everybody who's involved.
Yeah, we talk about this when we're doing our podcasts and stuff like this. And we really, from, Monday morning quarterback perspective, try to understand like how the home arcade business works. So we'll talk about things like, okay, well, Arcade1Up or whatever company wants to do X arcade, they still have to bring it to a buyer. And then there's the miracle that the buyer might know what they're talking about and might be interested in buying it. So it's so cool to hear somebody here on this aspect that is like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's go. Now, I've been waiting, Kevin, since we started talking earlier to say this, and I wanted to not give John an opportunity to kind of sabotage this, but a lot of people really want Qbert. Don't listen to John. It is wanted.
I think I've actually referenced that in conversations before, not totally sarcastically. So no, and to the point, I think a big part of the brand that John is building here is very much, hey, we hear you. We hear you. What do you want? So for all the people who've been like, hey, like we can't get a buyer to get what we want, or no one cares, like, oh, I'm gonna get her these 3 titles every year. Like, if you want to get loud with me. I'm here for it. Like, what is it you're looking for? I'm in with John hours every day. I'm in the Reddits, I'm in the YouTubes, I'm in the places that people are voicing their opinions. So I have no problem saying like, hey, I'm seeing a big chunk here, and John, let's talk about it. What do we got to do to make something like that work? We're listening. So hit us with it.
Yeah. By the way, Kevin isn't exaggerating when he says hours a day. He's not. I've been on calls with other partners for other brands, and when your 30 minutes is up, they're like, all right, gotta go, got another vendor. Like, we had a 30-minute, it must have been 30 minutes on the calendar, and we went for 2 hours. I was doing grocery shopping halfway through. I started taking my lunch break. I didn't know when it was going to end, but we went on for hours. Like, he's really, really invested. And it's not just a one-way conversation. It's two-way dialogue. There's feedback, there's strategy. So it really does feel like a partnership.
So there's this game that I don't know if you guys have ever heard of. It's called Robotron, and there seems to be this groundswell from the community. They want to see it done. I don't know where it comes from. I've never heard of the game personally, but
Robotron. Hey, look, I think we've heard a lot of Robotron games. For me, I love Robotron. It's probably one of those games like Defender where it takes really, really true hard skills with those 1 pixel kills and all that stuff. I think there's challenges right now with that IP. Also, another company has partial, partnership with that IP. But when it's available, don't think Kevin and I are gonna start knocking on doors.
Yeah, there's so many things I want to say. Like, we go back to just last year, and I know this is not a company you guys work with right now, or you might not have been there at the time, but there was the big thing in the community. A lot of us want those XL cabs. So that's one of the things that's so exciting about this new Iconic XXL line. And it's been really disheartening because, you know, they were introduced. We expected a ton of these cabinets to come out. A lot of us started making room and we were like, I'm replacing everything. I'm going all XL. It's going to be amazing. We've only been getting one a year and it seems to be locked behind a Costco partnership. And then what felt like, I guess, more of a kick in the nuts, we're already into rehashes through that company on this line. We heard a rumor. John makes fun of me, but I'm almost 100% sure the rumor started with him that they were looking at possibly doing a Star Wars XL last year, and it ended up being Golden Tee. So how can people tell you and make you aware the titles they want? I want to be careful because you'll get flooded. John knows this. Like, as soon as John pops up in Facebook, there's a million things being, when you guys were working at Arcade 1Up, do this game, do this game, do this game. But how do we tell you what we want, and can you help us understand that process of how hard it is to, you know, get some of these titles?
Well, John, I think you had mentioned a couple different avenues you wanted to go through, maybe some polling. Do you want to take that one?
I'll take this one, and then you can take the second half of the question, right? So I think Kevin and I will definitely be looking at the fan pages for the fan page for Iconic Arcade, which is
which I started as a joke.
which you started, right? There's also the Reddits, right? As well as, you know, we'll likely have some way to give us feedback through the Iconic Arcade website, and also possibly just other general arcade, you know, Facebook pages and Reddits. So we watch it all, and then Kevin, you know, you could get loud with him there. I'm pretty sure Kevin has a way to take community feedback and bring it to his team, and, you know, work together with, like, hey, John D, the community wants Robotron, can you help me get it done? Stuff like that, right? So Kevin, you know, you can expand on that.
Yeah. So as far as getting something to the market, right? So it's, you know, we jump on a Reddit poll or something along those lines over the next month, and you know, we get, you know, 400 people say we need to make Qbert next, right? Like that's trending. That's the big thing. You know, I think there's a production process. You know, John and I can talk about, start with licenses. You know, does licensing make sense? That's obviously the first hurdle. From licensing, then, you know, if the tech pieces all work out, once it gets to the ordering phase, it's really just about understanding sort of what the demand piece is, and I think what we're looking at doing to sort of protect this market is really try to buy as closely to what the real demand is over a few months. Like, how many people right now want this product? Can we make enough to get all those people that are interested in it, their product? What we don't want to do is start getting into these, I'm going to make 20,000, I don't know,
NFL Blitz
this year. And then for the next 5 years, the market has 150,000 cabinets that are just sort of floating around at various retails.
Yeah.
So this is part of why, you know, we talked, you know, the primary focus was talking about getting into Canada. By getting into Canada, that lets me really control that MOQ a lot cleaner, right? Because I don't need to just say, hey, I need to be able to sell 3,000 units in the US. I can say, hey, you know, I think I could sell this many online. I think I could sell this many online in Canada. I know the brick's going to take this many. I've got a couple retail partnerships down in the US that'll take a few. And then if I'm still missing, I can say, hey, John, like, you know, we've got some connections over in Europe. Any issue with me splitting an MOQ run with a distributor over in Europe? Hey, cool. Factory's happy. We just hit the MOQ. The market is satisfied. And it gives us a sustainable business. That we're able to constantly repeat, you know, every couple of years come out with some new cabinets. The one thing John's been really, really clear about, which is a completely different business model than what most people are doing in e-com right now, is we are not making eternal SKUs, right? So, you know, we're talking to, you know, we got Street Fighter Alpha. that's coming in, I'm not reordering Street Fighter Alpha. It could, Alpha 2 could come back in a couple years in a different form factor, in a different sort of style based on fan feedback, something along those lines. But this is the one. Like this is the run. Unfortunately, I do everything that I make all my decisions based on data. Data is not perfect, and since Alpha 2 hasn't been out in the market, there's not a lot of data behind Alpha 2. So when I approached John, I said, "Hey, why don't we split MOQs with Europe? That'll make it a lot cleaner for everybody, and no one's stuck with inventory that's not going to sell." The first one that we tested it on was Alpha 2. Now having then watched hours and hours of videos, and also sitting here on my computer watching my listing session, my sessions and my visitors on the listings skyrocket. I texted John a little bit later. I said, "Oops, I think we went slim on the wrong title here. Maybe we should have inversed it, because Alpha 2 is hands down smoking the World Warrior right now." So you live and learn, but it's interesting. The nice thing is we won't have to worry about being overstocked. We won't have to worry about the market being saturated with this thing, and trying to run promotions 3 years from now to get rid of a run. It's here. I hope you grab it.
Yeah, I think there's two risks to that. One is 100% like a good thing that, well, there's really one risk. Two risks that you underproduce based on the demand, which you're kind of seeing right now, maybe with Street Fighter 2 Alpha, which, I mean, it's a new title, right? So obviously this community is dying for something new, and that's what Alpha is. So it's exciting. But the other thing is, some people might come back and say, well, this is FOMO marketing if you're doing like small runs and stuff like that. I think it's easy enough to explain. It's just really inventory management, not really inventory management, but you're trying to stop what happened with other companies in the past with like a level of saturation of these cabs out into the marketplace.
Mhm.
Correct. An oversaturated market isn't good for anybody.
No.
So it's real. Don't get me wrong. If we had a title that we're like, hey, this is going to sell 15,000 units, like, yeah, that would absolutely be really, really exciting. What a great year, right? But what does that do to you next year? What does that do to you 2 years down the line when that product's still sitting there? And then where's the excitement factor? But also, like I said, I work with Arcade1Up. I'm working with John on this project. There's a couple other brands that I'm talking to, and I'm really in the center of understanding what the volume is, what are the titles, what are the releases really coming out across the entire market. And I take a certain level of responsibility upon myself to kind of say, like, hey, don't screw this thing up. I want to see a lot of exciting titles get released, and if the companies that are making these and the teams that are making these are successful, they're selling through their product, it's being well received, it's great quality, fans are happy, then that means we've got a market that is going to continue to grow and continue to develop, because the people who want to be in it are able to find success there. And I think that's how we keep this thing going for 10, 20, 30 years in the future, right?
Yeah, I think you guys mentioned it earlier. I think it's a really good statement is you're looking to rejuvenate and rebuild the home arcade community, because we're absolutely at a lull right now. Like, we went from a boom to the fact that things slowed down, obviously, because of some of that saturation, to now there's this new path forward. There's excitement again with Iconic Arcade, XXL, and this collaboration with some of the companies to really bring interest back to this product line.
I think I don't know that I would necessarily look at it as a slowdown necessarily in the market, but what I think is happening is as all the fans have they've built out their home arcade, they've got a couple units. I look at it the same way I look at my PlayStation. If my PS5 played the same as my PS2, I wouldn't have been thrilled to go shell out $600 for a PS5,
that's a fair point,
right? So for people who've been, maybe in that home arcade space for a year or two now, They want to see it kind of evolve, and you're always looking for like, hey, where am I at now? What's that next piece? Like what's that level up from where I am? So that's why I'm really excited, because a company like Arcade1Up, they will have that, the mass titles that the most people would probably be interested in. The quality is great for someone getting into what it is that we all enjoy doing, right? It's at a price point that, if mom wants to surprise the kids for Christmas, and get an arcade machine in the living room, like it's possible. We could do that. Like there's an entry point. And then the nice thing about that is having that sort of feeder coming into the market. Then that opens up a whole nother, generation, so to speak, for the Iconic Arcades and for whoever else is coming, where, they got it, but they're like, man, like maybe the joystick didn't feel just like the joystick when they were at the arcade, or maybe the screen I kind of want a little bit of a bigger screen, or why couldn't it do this, or why couldn't it do that? And that's where John and other developers are going to come out, and they're going to really start to fill each of those niches. And it's just going to be exciting, and I think people have an appetite. And the problem is, because how long it takes to develop, secure the licenses, do the production, get it imported, get a buying partner who knows what it is that you want to do all that for an industry that essentially sprung up essentially overnight on the time scale of things. People have they got more excited than what the market could really keep up with. So here we are, and it's we're to the promised land, right? Like it's coming. The good products that the diversity that we've been looking for, that's the current situation. That's where we're going. So it's fun to watch. It's way more fun to be behind the scenes. I'll tell you that right now. Like to be part of the hours of conversation like that we aren't having with you right now, Mike. It's so exciting.
I actually prefer that anyways. I hate knowing stuff ahead of time, and it makes it so awkward to be on camera, and like people are asking you questions and you're like, I don't know if I should answer this or could. Like I would rather not know and be surprised like this. So this is awesome. Really quickly, you guys are going to get hounded like from now on with people looking for game requests and stuff like that. Ichabod Crane 499 super chat wants to know, can you make a Midway online cab NBA MK Rampage? I mean, I know from a licensing perspective, you've already kind of answered this. Midway may be working with somebody else right now, but on top of that, hypothetically, putting NBA on with MK would be a very tough challenge, I'm assuming.
Not really, because NBA had MK characters originally, but I wouldn't put NBA. I wouldn't put NBA and MK in the same, in same basically cabinet. Again, I don't want to talk too much about the Midway licenses, who another partner in the category has. But in our order, can we do it? It's been done already. So if we were ever gonna have the chance to do it, we'd love to do it better. We always want to do better, and I think Kevin brings up a good point. So there's this category is changing in the such that it's going to have multiple partners that bring you multiple products, and that's a great thing. There's room for a $6.99 product, and I do kind of really want to talk about that. Our XXL $6.99, others is $5.99, but you have to understand that ours comes with free shipping and no club membership needed. So it's very comparable in that way. And also, there's definitely room for sub $1,000 full size arcade machines that are fully moddable, and there are spaces for the baby Cades and the slim Cadies and desk stuff and handhelds, and
we say desk shit. You can say
I
shit.
know. I try not to cuss anymore.
He's a new man.
But you know what I mean. So that's exciting to me, right? That now we have choices, and there's going to be even $1,500 price points ready, like with Unico, $2,000, and I think there's definitely a white space anywhere, you know, all across the board. So yeah, I'm excited to be in this new era of cooperation versus competition.
Yeah, just 1 second, guys.
Damn.
I apologize. My son is losing his mind there, so I'm trying to get my wife's attention downstairs. So really quickly, this is something that came up earlier, and Kevin, you mentioned this. Like, Spreetail's really working with Arcade1Up still. You guys are kind of running your own companies now. Like David, like you're kind of a free agent because you're working with John and his team, but at CES, you played double duty again. You were also working with My Arcade. And
Yep.
John, like you've talked about working with other companies. So do you see an opportunity for your company to work, possibly either of your companies to work with Arcade1Up again in the future?
Yeah, I think
I
both
do.
of us are open to it. Yeah. When I parted ways with Arcade1Up back in September, I immediately knew I wanted to stay in the business of our home arcades and video games. And so that's when I made it official that I was launching Arcade PR, which is specifically a marketing firm supporting video game companies. And so, as you mentioned, Iconic Arcade is one of them. My Arcade's another. I'm working with a software development agency, not an agency, a publishing studio. It's called The Mix Games. They do games for the Switch. They do Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation. So yeah, I'm doing gaming hardware, accessories, software, everything under the sun. And in terms of Arcade1Up, yeah, I mean, always open. John mentioned it earlier. As long as nothing's a direct competitor with one another, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would consider it as long as it's something new, you know.
Yeah.
And they share the same vision for the product. I'm totally open to work with Arcade1Up. I mean, there's a lot of great people still there, and a lot of them are still kind of family to me too. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it just seems like
somebody just said, Decadent Dave, John D and I should buy out Arcade1Up. Look, if I could, I would. And in fact, they actually have a really, really cool product line, the Infinity gaming line, that I had such
like
an
that.
affinity towards, having helped launch that on Kickstarter back in 2020 and then selling that into retail is one of my just most memorable experiences. Working closely with John, by the way, we were working hand in hand on licensing the whole time as we were launching this thing. I was like, bro, I need more games. Like, get me more games. I didn't know the Kickstarter community was even crazier than our dedicated arcade community. I didn't know it went like a tier above. You know, you guys think we're passionate here? Go to Kickstarter. Those guys are really on you. And so John and I were working really, really closely on the game roster for that device, and I think that they have some really cool items and people that still work there. Like, I have some really, really good friends. Like, I keep in touch with them. I was texting the CEO. We were trying to link up at CES. It didn't work out. Like, there's no hard feelings between any of us.
Not at all. At least not on my side. And you know, I've missed working with a lot of them. Phil, Jason, Mona, you know, the bunch. Shout outs to you guys, man. I miss you guys. But yeah,
I miss Robbie.
Yes,
my boy Rob.
Your boy Rob, the mountain man. But yeah, I would love to work on a Claw Machine XL with them.
Yeah, that claw machine is cool as shit, man. Yeah, I know John was telling me afterwards, and maybe you shouldn't have told me, but he was like, man, I'm surprised they got that out. Like, that's really cool. Like, I'm surprised they got it for the price point. David did us all the favor of leaking it during an Arcade1Up.
Oh, that's right. Was that intentional, DMac? Was that intentional?
I don't know if I can say.
That has been the $1 million question.
I didn't know. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, guys. I studied viral marketing in school.
Yeah.
There's a lot of intentional leaks that happen. There's a lot of unintentional leaks happen. You know, I don't even know if people in the company knew that was intentional. So I'll just leave it at that.
You went rogue, huh? You went rogue.
John left, so someone had to pick up the slack. You know what I mean? So once John left, I was like, well, who's gonna get this community excited?
Who's gonna stir the pot? Yeah,
you guys are just on it. Background, I'll tell you that.
You guys are freeze framing. You know, in CSI when they do like a forensic, they're like, all right, enhance the image. They zoom in and they clear up all the pixels. You guys are doing that, and I love that you guys in the community are so on it. Yeah.
You got to follow too. James Hates Everything. This guy does like 2-hour briefings on legal dissertations about these home arcade companies. It's crazy.
You know, James is such a nice guy.
Oh, yeah,
For a
totally.
channel that's called James Hates Everything, he's
Doesn't hate
such
anything.
a pleasant dude. He does not hate everything.
All
He was
right.
he was a treat to meet. I met him for the first time at CES, I believe.
Yeah, really super nice guy. A couple more questions. I know you got to go, DMac, or like I'm trying to keep this to an hour, and I didn't do a very good job, so I apologize.
It's up to you.
We got time.
If you want to extend it for an hour, DMac can leave if he needs to.
Do you got a date? You can tell
Yeah,
us.
No,
it's-
it's
he has a date with the
my
wifey.
bedtime. I'm getting old, guys. I just turned
Oh
30.
my gosh!
You just turned
It's only
30.
10.
10 p.m.
It's
10
p.m.
p.m.
Yeah.
I'm working on my. I'm still jet lagged from Vegas, and my sleep schedule hasn't really come back.
Seriously,
So
bro?
Yeah.
we didn't really sleep a whole bunch, but yeah,
We did not sleep at all during.
Oh yeah, we
during
were
Vegas.
busy, very busy, especially John and Mason. Oh my God, they don't sleep at all. Like 2 nights, 2 days, 2 nights.
Bobby wasn't busy.
Crazy.
Oh god.
Well, see, guys, we're working with the future kids that are going to take over this industry when we're
Yeah.
long gone. So,
Yeah.
Doug Wynn, $4.99 super chat, and again, you're going to get a lot of this, and thank you very much, Doug. So, being these cabs look to be a success, what new titles, classics should we expect in the future? Double Dragon, perhaps. I don't know about Double Dragon. Like, I know that's one that there was a prototype that leaked from Arcade1Up. I think it's one that a lot of people in the community would love to see. Definitely with that Double Dragon 2 artwork, even though Double Dragon 1 is a nicer cab, it just has that horrible Taito artwork on the side. So, I will ask this. When do you think you'll know, or when do you think the community will know, because we're thirsty, when we can expect to see more titles coming, whether it be from Iconic Arcade or another partnership you have, John?
That's a good question. We definitely have titles in the roadmap that are new. Of course, we're just trying to figure out when the best time is.
Yeah.
We're hoping to have at least one new title, another title this year, but we'll see. Also, Bobby has designed some cool stuff that may or may not come out this year. But again, it's all about longevity, right? We don't want to super flood the market. We want to be, very, very respectful of people's inventory costs,
Yeah.
and things like that. But yeah, we can expect some new things, not just from my company, possibly from others. But yeah.
Yeah, Bobby, I've kept you pretty quiet for a while. Is it okay if I ask you a question, brother?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we saw this cocktail table at CES that you guys were showing off. So explain to me, what is this thing and what do you guys want to do with it?
Go ahead, Bobby.
Well, it's just a concept, guys. So it has a lot of things in there. It's actually running a Pi 4. It also supports Sinden, vertical and horizontal, and cocktail mode all in one. So just waiting for approval by John to get this out to the market. And there will be games, licensed games in there. And John, he put me to work. I'm telling you, I have under 2 months to finish this, and I was
It will look
like
beautiful,
stressing
man.
out. Yes, thanks.
Look, he did a great job. So
There's a
yeah,
lot more details I want to talk about, which I can't, but stay tuned for more info in the future. Okay, that was the video was showing more than enough. You guys can get the picture, right?
Yes, those are it's CES. Prototypes and concepts are there. To see what the feedback is. We're trying to make it the best product we can for consumers, right? Bobby says this Pi 4 is probably gonna be Pi 5.
It's gonna be
if I
Pi
were-
5. Yes, it's gonna be Pi 5.
Again, what's great, when I saw that the price drop happened for Iconic Arcade, people were actually getting into it and see what they could do. Like plug and play Sinden was really a big thing. Now, you could do some sort of things like that. But yeah, Bobby is an amazing engineer. And
Also
he was
you can
working
stream.
every day
Stream.
overtime to get it done.
Also, I will make this possible. You can also have a HDMI or do a splitter. You can stream Netflix media like Fire Stick. You can play Xbox games, do cloud, and more other streaming clouding games through Fire Sticks for free, and you play free games on Fire Sticks as long as you have Amazon Prime, and you could connect your Xbox 360 controller or PlayStation 3 controller or 4 will work just fine. That will be later on in the
Damn.
future. I'll show the demo.
Yeah, and
You guys
also like,
remember the Slap Chop commercial where they're like, "But wait, there's more."
Yeah,
I
but
feel like
wait, there's
Bobby
more.
just like
That's Bobby.
championed everything
Yes,
you can.
it is
That's
amazing,
such a
guys.
good
It is.
product.
I really want to show all the detail, but not yet. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Trust me. It's
Nice
media.
job.
so
Let's talk
Bobby
some of
said
the features.
the holds barred. We'll get to the no holds barred soon.
Yeah, P Dubs was so salty that I was doing
know,
this.
right?
He was like, "What do you do at the Super Game Room, dudes?"
Well, also he didn't ask, right? So
Yeah,
we
I
hope,
didn't
we
ask.
hope
You
to
asked
join.
me.
DMac and Bobby hope to join, and possibly me. So when Bobby created this prototype, he was using HDMI splitter, right?
Yep.
And again, these are kind of things that I know for a fact now that we don't have to have a splitter. So we're just like all these, different details. We're gonna get it ready, so it's gonna be amazing. What
Mhm.
Bobby did also, he created a hook. He used that space inside the cocktail
storage.
table as storage, right? And it looks really nice. So Bobby, if you don't know about his background, he used to like mod these. We used to call them rice rockets, but he used to mod these cars back in the day. So he has all of these. I told him he needed to put hydraulics on the cocktail. He was saying, no, it's gonna mess up all the wiring. But
No, the
anyways.
monitor, especially the monitor, when the hydraulic is hitting it, the monitor will get messed up. That's a no. You're gonna replace the monitor right away.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw some of like the stuff Bobby Vu did for like the iArcade. Like it's incredible. Like some stuff for me, I was like, Bobby, that's over the top. It's too much. But like, you did some amazing stuff. So excited to see what you have in store.
Yeah, I actually used my knowledge from back in the days in the 90s when I used to modify cars. This is way before Fast and the Furious movie came out because it was inspired by us when we were in hot import nights. We're modifying. Nights. Yeah, remember that?
Totally.
Yes, I was in there too in the hot import nights showing our crew net was white mist. So basically, all of our cars all white. So we modify custom kit, this and that, paint job, vinyl car covers, seats, you name it, NOS, all out. That's how I got my experience to modding into the arcade. I use my experience from modding the car into the arcade cabinets. It's very similarity.
Yeah. So Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, really quickly, I wanted to mention this. B. Kirby, the Chicago arcade guy, super nice guy, super supporter. Apologize again, guy. You got these 2-year-olds, and you can't really help it sometimes when they go nuts. So I apologize about the noise. Mike's son crying in the background sounded like Mike 2 weeks ago about the side art. Just kidding, brother. Johnson and Company, keep doing what you're doing. I already pre-ordered the alpha. Thank you for the super chat, but I did want to talk about that because it's kind of interesting, like when you're a new company starting out and like you're so excited about what you're putting out, and then you got these jerks online that just fixate on something like the side art and kind of tear it apart. So how do you guys take that kind of criticism and stuff like that? Because a lot of companies would be like, well, we don't care, like that person doesn't know what he's talking about. How do you take feedback from the community like that, and how important is community feedback?
I think for this project and going forward, community feedback is everything. We need to have that type of criticism because that, if that criticism becomes, widespread, then we know that that's something we need to change. Speaking of which, Mike, I think I sent you something.
You did,
and then
yeah.
So it's regarding the side art, we want to give people choices now, and let's bring that up.
Yep.
Again, we probably built a little bit more choices on there or solidify this, but maybe we can do like a semi-poll on which version that people like. But basically, ultimately, and I worked this out with Kevin. We're going to have the people who pre-ordered World Warrior make the decision, but we also want to see initial feedback on there. So here's 5 versions that we already made. Number 1 is the original. Number 1 was our version of the original. Number 2 is the original. Number 3 and 4 are very similar, and number 5 I can't. That's my favorite, but I don't have a vote in it. But I want people to in the chat, which one is your favorite? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And also, Kevin even brought this up. He goes, I like number 4, but what if we take out the Street Fighter 2 logo and just keep it cleaner with maybe a little bit of design or no design. And so maybe we'll likely put that up. So probably the ones we'll use this, the ones that people like the least, we'll take that out as an option, and then for the people pre-ordered, I want to give them 5 options.
Yeah, and this is super unique too, because like this is a product that's already been pre-ordered. Like a lot of people said about it, Mike should stop complaining. I mean, people have already pre-ordered. The genie's out of the bottle. Is this normal, Kevin, for a company to consider making changes after being at this?
I told John this before. If I didn't love this, if I didn't love what he was doing and just believe that talking to the fans was the right way to go about it, this would be the absolute worst job possible. I mean, it's design changes. It's, I don't know what he's going to change next. So what I'm looking at is, everyone who's placed a pre-order, I'm looking at hundreds and hundreds of emails like, sure, let me know who to get typing to. Because it's fun, because it's like everything's so high tech, right? But then at the end of the day, it comes down to like, okay, but we actually got to like send an email. Like, are you gonna get pissed off if we change your artwork here, bro? Like, are we good here? So I'm kind of curious, if this is going to cause an issue, right? I mean, are people, were people super passionate about that really busy original plan? Then on the flip side, I'm like, how many people ordered Alpha 2 just because they felt as strongly as Michael B? It said, John completely has no idea what he's doing. Designed the ugliest cab ever. I think those were your words exactly, Michael.
Yeah, I think you're paraphrasing, but yeah, that's pretty close.
Do I have to email all the Alpha 2 people? Like, I've got nothing better to do, John.
Yeah.
By all means.
Kevin was it's kind of a headache for him logistically to do what we're doing, but again, he believes in the the community feedback. Again, we're gonna do a combination of actual votes and polls, as well as just kind of taking universal feedback, and one universal feedback that we were given is about the width of it. So I kind of want to address that. So for the HS1, it's a true 9:10 scale. It's, if not more, than for the HS1. But the inside panel, a control panel of HS1 was 23.75 inches, right? And so our current one is 22 inches. So it's a difference of about 1.75 inches. Now we're going back to our factories, seeing what we can do, to make it wider. It'd be great, but see, there's also issues with the proportions now, right? If we make this wider, we may have to we're not going to change the depth, but we may have to make it like an inch taller, or something. Does the inch taller, is that going to prevent someone buying it, or will it encourage people to buy it, right?
I don't think that is actually a determining factor. Someone looking at their ceiling being like, I just can't take another inch. I'm sorry, John.
Well, oh my gosh, my old me would say something. But I'm saying that what I get it. So I mean, we 1.75 inches. That's something that we're trying to figure out. Can we do it? Can we still have a viable product? How does it change the artwork? All this stuff is being considered. So we're taking it seriously. As you know, right now, we're taking the side art seriously, taking all the feedback seriously. Where should that power button, that red power button be? Should it even be on there? Or, do we really need a headphone jack? I personally don't think we need a headphone jack, because this
exactly.
It's Bluetooth. So maybe we replace that with a button, an extra button, right?
Hydraulics.
Like a select and start. And for that stuff, we also like, okay, if we're wider, then maybe we think of a different monitor solution. Who knows, right? So there's a lot to consider. But the great thing is we are 6 months away.
Yeah.
We probably need to lock down final changes in about 3 months, 3 or 4 months. We'll see. what the factory can, because when I told this to the factory, they were just like stressing out. I said, look, let's give what the fans want. So yeah, everything is on the table. Should we put a print on the the coin door inside so it says 25 cents? I mean, everything. Like, how about that space between the monitor and that, all of that is being considered.
I think
Really quickly, at least one Canadian pre-order is in already from Wright's Retrocade, who threw the super chat up earlier. $279. He just wanted to let you guys know that. So thank you very much for making that happen.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's fair, right? Some people just want to wait a little bit, but again, it's we're here to help you guys make that decision as soon as possible. So so we can get everything in and the final stuff in.
Yes,
but
yeah.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of questions regarding
Yeah,
that.
we're going based by what the community wants. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna listen to everyone and take a poll, and then we'll make the final decision with the final products. This is what you guys want.
I know
The
a lot of
community.
people. I know a lot of people are asking about how's the emulation going to work. We talked about a little bit earlier, the UI and stuff like that. Is that something you can talk about now, or maybe give us some insight into?
Oh, well, the UI is still in work in progress. We're not allowed to show that yet. And for the emulation, we have a team that's very professional about the emulation to go backdoor on that and to make it run smoother and make it probably run even better than what we have on right now. So we have a group of team are working on it right now. So we'll announce that later on in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the team that we're working with are probably the best in the industry. So there, Bobby, myself, Justin Wong, we're all gonna make sure that the online experience, is as fully featured and works well. We know the basics that people want for the online community. A lot of the reasons why we wanted to use Capcom is because it allowed us to show the technology that we're going to have in terms of the online play. At minimum, right? We want friends lists. We want what's it called again? What's that mode where you can watch other people, Bobby?
Spectate mode. Spectate mode.
Spectate mode.
Hey, we're going to try to make it as close as possible as 5K.
Yeah.
This is what we're trying to do to make it smooth. But overall, I don't think you guys can tell the difference unless you guys look at it really detailed.
Yeah.
So it should be fairly good.
Yeah.
I saw one MG had a question in here about pricing, asking when the pre-order pricing ends. So I thought I'd jump in on that because this is sort of different for me than what I usually do with brands. The pricing it's $699.99 US or $999.99 Canadian. If you do the conversion, you're actually getting it for $697. Might be, so you're actually getting preferential
money.
You can get a double.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, you can get a double burger.
But one of the interesting conversations that I had early on with John D, as we were just kind of understanding what's the philosophy, what's the brand, like what's the customer experience with it, and he was very adamant. He's like, the price is $699.99. And I posed like, hey, well, what if these are selling out really, really quickly? Standard procedure is like, hey, we're going to raise the price, kind of slow that down, try to avoid out of stocks, do a reorder. And he's like, no, the price is $699.99. And if you go out of stock, we go out of stock. And that's kind of how it works. And you'll notice when you go on the listing, the MSRP that's listed, that's always higher than, the actual retail. But he's like, you can only go to $799.99 on that. And that actually doesn't have anything to do with Spreetail. That is really just that's kind of I'll call it like the flag for the community to say like, hey, if you see it for a price higher than this, that's someone, buying the product and relisting it and, kind of doing a resell at a higher level. But the philosophy is like, this is the price. We're not going to raise it. not going to lower it. It's
Yeah.
$699.99, and that's where it's going to stay. And it's a really, I think it's, when we look at all the technical pieces that go into it and everything that you get for it, I think it's a very fair price. Unfortunately for me, John is also really adamant that he's going to make all of these changes, which are going to affect the size, which affects, inbound shipping. It affects outbound shipping.
Yeah.
It's going to affect the weight. It's going to affect the base item cost. And he has been very collaborative to let me know that will not be allowed to change my retails. I think I joke, it's I'm not complaining. I'm having fun, and it's an honest price. It's a good price. But it's really interesting to be able to say that, if you did pre-order, or if you are pre-ordering, without a doubt, the product that you're actually going to get will be better than the product that you pre-ordered, and you're not going to pay a penny more for that improved product.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think there's no situation that's a parallel to that in my logistics career. I've been with Spreetail for almost 10 years now, and I've never come across someone who's like, can I make it better? Can I make the margins on this thinner? But keep the retails exactly where they're at. I just want it to be better when people buy it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why MG was worried about the price. This guy is rich. He's got like 2 PlayStation 5 Pros just sitting in a box, not even used. So, yeah, and I don't know, worry about him. Really quickly, I know you guys got to get out of here. So, a lot of questions about online fighting. See, Marble 360 is a big fighting game. Has it confirmed if all the fighting games will be online enabled? Is that your intention, John? All the fighting games on the cab will be online?
Yeah, for the first time in this category, the Alpha, the Alpha 3 or the Alpha series, as well as Street Fighter 3 will be online, all the fighting games. And one thing people missed also is one of my favorite versions of Street Fighter 2, which is Hyper Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Edition, is there for the first time. And it's going to be an interesting, I don't think people have ever run tournaments on that. So what's different about that is I think it's a definitive Street Fighter 2 game where you can basically fight any version of your character in the Street Fighter 2 series, right? So you could even play Ryu, World Warrior versus Zangief, Super Street Fighter 2. Actually, that I don't know if World Warrior is a selection, but it's like CE2 or
the Hyper, the Street Fighter 2 Hyper.
But it's Hyper Street Fighter 2. But then again, like Bobby, he'll know. I think you can play. Well, you definitely play from CE all the way up to Street Fighter 2 Turbo versions. I forget if you can play World. I don't know why anyone play World Warrior version if that's in there. But I would love to play the World Warrior. My Guile in World Warrior probably can beat a lot of people's Street Fighter 2 turbos just because of the character. I'll do handcuffs all day.
See, I would never be able to play against you because like I prefer playing as Ryu, but like I cheat and then use E Honda a lot of times, and I know how good you are with Guile, so there's no point.
Bede cheats with E Honda all the time.
Oh yeah, I fought B in Galloping Ghost. We had a Honda off. Yeah,
so cheap.
Fighters Evolution, $5 super chat. All right, I'll make a video giving my feedback and details. However, I will throw this out. Why not make a single player deck for these cabs? Why is that decision never been considered? I'm sure you've seen afterwards. People get these aftermarket decks. Bobby
made me
involved
one
in this too, right?
Bobby made
That's
me one.
The speaker. That's where I come in.
That's Bobby. Bobby's
later on. That's later on. That's later on, though. One player deck.
All right, and I got to bring this up too, John. How tall are you?
I'm 5'10". I'm 5'10" with heels.
5'10" with heels. Yeah, some of the feedback that 19K
Who gave
Fox
you that
gave
picture?
me,
That's not even.
that's your picture. It's on your Facebook.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Like, when did this release? It wasn't supposed to be released. That's how, like, ask B. That's how I actually play. So I have a weird stance.
Yeah.
That's exactly how B always.
Yeah.
He always teases me on how I play.
So a lot of people are excited to see this. I know 19K Fox gave some feedback that maybe the control panel was a little low for him. It's not a big deal for me. I mostly play on a stool anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. How is everything else with the prototype? Are the sight lines good? everything like that? Were you happy with it?
Yeah, the sight line's perfect. For people 6 feet. If you're 7 foot, maybe it's a little tough.
Yeah.
There's a VR way actually. So Sean has this really great program where he has VR, and you can use the CAD, right, and basically see if there's any sightline issues with the cabinet. It's pretty amazing.
James hates everything. $2 super chat. Any chance we get a hidden game secret track?
Possibly.
All right. B Kirby, John D, it seems like you really love Street Fighter. Are you good at playing Street Fighter?
Not as good as the community, right? But I have 10-1, a community member before, and then with B,
John's
I think
good.
yeah,
He's being modest. He's good.
So I 10-1 that guy and smoked him, and then with B Kong, he was cheating, but I still lost only 10-8. So I mean, I guess I'm okay.
He is a cheater, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll do a challenge. Like any executive or CEO in the industry want to have a tournament, I'm down.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, me too.
All right, I got to go back to my questions really quickly, David. I feel so bad. I know you wanted to get out of here early. I'm so sorry, man.
No, there's no rush. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, so
I don't want P-Dub saying that you don't ask the hard-hitting question.
I got to ask the hard-hitting question. So one, there was a lot of feedback from the community, obviously. When you came out, people want something new and something fresh. And when they saw Street Fighter, they were like, oh, Street Fighter. So what was the initial reason for doing Street Fighter? I know Alpha's a new title, but what was the reason for going with something that was similar to what's already been out there?
Okay, so I mentioned before, we wanted to show our online technology and show that off. Also, Capcom is definitely something that is a company that I'm very closely associated with and love their IPs. I also wanted to, because we have a higher a better chipset than other companies in this category. I wanted to expand the lineup, and so I wanted to use some of my favorite games, like Gigawing 2 on there. And again, I mean, I don't think there's a secret why I wanted Capcom. I love Capcom, and it's not just because I worked there. Again, I understand there has been Capcoms in the past, but this is kind of not just a Capcom cabinet, right? This is our vision for what this line is going to be in terms of the looks and everything. And also, I love Capcom artwork. I think Capcom was limited back in the days for what kind of artwork they can do. Conversion cabs. So like Alpha 2 is on there because it's one of my favorite pieces of key art ever. So now I get to, so there's still that authenticity, right? But it allows us to take that and expand on it, right? I say that as long as the fans feel it's authentic, then it's authentic. And really, again, look, I'm a big Street Fighter fan. It's also not just for Street Fighter fans. They're shooters, and there's beat 'em ups, and possibly more to come with this same cabinet.
So I do have a question about that. Obviously, Iconic Arcade is known for having, in Canada, and the people that are familiar with the brand, it's kind of an open multi-cade. It has a Raspberry Pi. There's a large emulation side to it. Do you guys see any fear of this limiting people's interest in buying additional units by having possibly the same capacity through this cabinet?
Okay, look, we focus on a couple things here, right? I think for multicade fans, there's something there for them. But again, we want this to look as authentic as possible. And so, you can buy multiple things because multiple cabs, because there'll be different shapes, right? We're not just HS1. If we do another one, it could be HS5 or, possibly a Taito or whatever it is. It's just expanding on what collectors want. So definitely there's going to be a need a demand for multiple cabinets of this line. So I think this is a good cross section for both fans.
Yeah,
But
like
also, I'd add, if you are going to buy one machine, this is a really good one to be the one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you really only had one room, this is probably the best option in the market for its price and scale.
Yeah, so I think David, you remember when Arcade 1Up first launched. I mean, everybody looked at that Street Fighter cabinet and was like, "Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I'm going to get and put a pie in it."
Mhm.
So yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
well, I mean,
sense.
ETA Prime put us on the map. How to mod an Arcade 1Up, and he put a Raspberry Pi in there. That video has like 1 million+ views,
Yeah,
and
Yep.
it's no secret that we were a part of our success was due to him modifying it.
100%.
So if you take one of the best modifications for another product and you make that from a factory, no modifications required. Someone like myself, not necessarily as tech savvy as say someone like Bobby here. I'm not gonna mod it. I'm not gonna put a pie in it. But $600 or 900 Canadian, yeah, I'd pay that to have it done for me. You know what I mean? So I think this ticks the box of if you're looking for one machine and you want to upgrade it or do whatever the heck you want to it, whether it's content, artwork, whatever mods you can do, controls, joysticks, whatever. You can do that. And if not, it's a great product out of the box. So I think we're ticking both options. And to the question kind of earlier, this is proof of concept. This is showing there's a demand for something like this in the
yeah,
marketplace. In fact, when we announced what we did at CES, there's actually another collaboration in the press release that we took out at the last minute. To John's point earlier, there is more in the hopper. We're trying to be strategic in terms of when we do announce it and how we announce it, and you know, we got everything Bobby's working on. There's a lot of other stuff in the works. So even if this isn't for you, it might be something that it is for your friend or your friend group. I think something that we've been embracing with this community is if you embrace the community, they embrace you. And so word of mouth is of the utmost importance. We don't have multi-million-dollar marketing budgets. If it's something that you're into, share with your community, share with your network, your family, your friends. Of course, if you believe in it, if you buy into it, go for it. But if it's not for you, it might be something that your friend might be into or your family might be into. So don't rule us out completely.
It's interesting you were talking about word of mouth, and we're talking about how it's being received. And after the first couple of days, John reaches out, like, hey, how's the traffic? Are people logging in? Do people want to see it? And without getting into specific numbers, the conversation was essentially like just a few YouTube videos, and just the excitement, the hype, that the community has organically. I said, you're getting the same amount of traffic as what I would be very pleased to generate with other brands, who are spending thousands of dollars a week on advertising, if you visited something, it pops up on the side of your screen, you think your phone's listening to you, like all those kinds of ads. But I'm like, there's no, we're not advertising. You're just going out and talking about the product with people who are interested. And you're driving the same tens and tens of thousands of people have gone through these listings already. In essentially 2 weeks. It's absolutely insane. And we've never, all I do is the data. John's the artist. Bobby's the artist. I just do the data. I'm the nerd troll in the basement, right? And,
right. People on Twitter getting mad because they don't respond.
That's right. Just trying to talk to humans, and to see just to see that kind of traffic, that kind of excitement, and how it directly correlates. If you go on a show, I can text John the next day, be like, "What the hell happened at 10 o'clock last night, dude?" I'll be like, "Oh, I know what it was. It was so and so's show, or it was such and such." And having that engaged of a community, I mean, it just makes you want to do the right thing, and engage back in a meaningful way. Because we all win. It's fun, dude. We're having so much fun. We're working really hard, and we're putting in a ton of hours. And like, I'll speak for everybody. Like, we're having a blast. This is, if you have to pay bills, this is the way to do it. Like, I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
You got to love what you do, and especially if you're going to put your heart and soul into it. So, really quickly, I got to bring this up. This is a funny one for David. So, David, you mentioned ETA Prime earlier. I don't know if you know this, but we have our Canadian version of ETA Prime. We actually call them like the discount version or the great value version. His name is Nostalgia.
Nostalgia?
Nostalgia.
Oh no,
So
he's not the
yes.
Temu version. Sorry, I didn't know
It's
who
the
you were
great
talking about.
value version of
Nostalgia's
ETA
awesome, man.
Prime. So anyways,
I'm familiar. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
my buddy Nostalgia, when you started working with Arcade 1Up, he wrote you like crazy trying to develop some kind of relationship and partnership. And whatever happened, it didn't work. So he thinks he's like David McIntosh hates me. I'll never get in with David McIntosh. Can
No,
you
no,
reach
no,
out to
no.
Nostalgia and make him feel better?
Yeah, shout out to Nostalgia, dude. I'll get your contact info from Michael. We talk often now, and Michael, same goes to you. Like if you ever want to jam, you ever want to have us on your show again, I'm a free
Awesome.
spirit now. The chains are off. You know, John always jokes around how I had him in shackles, and I did in instances,
did.
but I was also in some iteration of that as well. So if I ever excommunicated or ghosted or kind of stopped responding or engaging, it wasn't by choice. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And so now that I've started my own firm, Arcade PR, I'm my own boss. I get to do what I want. Yeah, I have lots of clients here and there. You obviously want to help them out, but at the end of the day, I'm my own person, and I will happily engage and go on any show, talk to any person, and work with anybody.
All right, Nostalgia, you can no longer say I've never done anything for you. I've cleared the air and fixed the dark waters in the arcade community between you and David McIntosh. Miracles
Yeah,
are
it's
happening here.
David at Arcade PR Nostalgia. Hit me up. That's my email, arcadepr.com. I'll hit you right back.
Really quickly, we also got a $5 super chat from B Kirby, Chicago Arcade Guy. I'm excited for you all. I'm also excited for all the content creators in this community. They were dying without you guys. Here's to 2025. We were struggling. Thank you.
I love pinball and desk stuff, but this is stuff I like better.
Yeah.
I like VR as well.
Yeah. So, this
Michael,
is,
they don't think you're giving us a hard enough time. They think you're still pulling your punches.
Well, they always say that about me anyways. Yeah, and I'll give him a little fuel here too. When John was mentioning the price, he was like, I know other competitors are selling their cabs at $5.99. It's Costco. Costco gets special pricing. It's the same with the Stern partnership. They sell their units for about $1,000 less than Stern sells them regularly. You're actually meeting the price of what they were at normal retail. So there you go. Clip it.
Yeah.
I'm shilling up.
But also, I mean, there's no possible way
Yeah.
that we could make this $5.99. I mean, honestly, we wanted to go $7.99, and we just knew that wasn't gonna be popular. But Kevin is putting his faith in this as a long-term business. We knew $6.99 had to be the price point. But again, you have to think about the improvements that we're doing. It's a lot. It's wider. It's deeper. A little bit taller. We're gonna have upgraded buttons. We're working on those upgraded buttons and joysticks. We have a Pi 5 in there. I mean, that's much more expensive than All Winners or a Rock Chip 3388, whatever was used. The highest that was used in before. So that has to be all put in consideration, right? And again, so hopefully people are happy with the price. But I'll just tell you, like at this price point, there's a ratio in terms of quality and everything we want to put to a certain price point. Glenn's doing some great stuff, at $9.99 or whatever he's going to put out, and that's a different market, and I don't feel that we're necessarily competing him. I applaud him for what he's doing because it's very community focused. But for us, we also want to give another option for the fans who kind of want this scale.
Yeah. I gotta ask some hard questions or people will be really mad. So one thing that Arcade 1Up has seemingly done is it seems like they don't have a lot of interest in really catering to the hardcore community. And at times, some of their marketing comes off as kind of offensive to the hardcore community and really shows that or makes it look like they don't really care about what we think. So what is your guys' target audience, and what do you plan to do maybe a little bit differently than Arcade 1Up has done historically with their community outreach and marketing?
Oh, that's a perfect question for DMac, who's leading our marketing efforts right now.
Sure. Yes. Look, I was fortunate enough to have worked on the plans that helped build Arcade 1Up to what they are. Maybe not past tense. I think they're still solid, for what they are. And they built the foundation of that company on the community. That's how we got to the masses. We've had people tell us straight up, very important people, they are in our fan pages, they're engaging in our fan community. And I think that they lost sight of that only because they went mainstream. They won the small business lottery, and they basically were in every major retailer, brick and mortar. They saw, they got a taste of being a big brand, and so they're constantly trying to chase that high of how do we continuously stay in the mainstream. And I think that that has led to a little bit of a tone deafness, if you will, in terms of the core audience that they were originally built on. But however, I think one of the key things that Iconic has addressed is we know that community is what paved the way for us to be mainstream. We're going to cater to them. And in fact, I've pitched things to John that are mainstream-esque that he's swatted down, and I'm happy to admit that. And I think he was right in a lot of those conversations, and vice versa. I've pitched community things that he swatted down even recently, and admitted he was wrong on. So I think there's a delicate balance to focusing on the community, not selling your soul to the mainstream. And I think that there's even a way for them to take corrective action and to fix kind of the disconnect. I had tried doing that towards the end there. I know you're aware, and we were in talks at some point. But yeah, look, there's a company that really is listening. When we were at CES, a bunch of the people testing out the machine were like, "Yo, these controls are not it. Like, you got to work on these controls," and that's been received. We had closed door meetings, and we're like, "Hey, here's our budget. What's the best we can possibly get in this range that's better than what's currently in the prototype?" And safe to say, what's in the prototype is not final. We're going to try to get as close to the best quality we possibly can. But to John's point earlier, it has to be within budgetary accessibility. Otherwise, the price range isn't what it currently is. So yeah, just focusing on the community for us has been the foundation of the company and its decisions. Things like, what other categories are you looking into? What other form factors? And it's genuinely, well, what does the community want? Because they're the ones who are buying it. And so we're just kind of embracing you guys as long as we can, and hoping that will help separate us from the rest.
Yeah, and I want to get even more targeted, if you want to say. I think our products are geared to people 40 to 60, right? And people who've lived through the arcade era, and also for younger generations who want to be a part of that as well, right? And so unapologetically, this is not a super mainstream product like a Pac-Man product or things like this. This is for our community. And I believe that our community is big enough to make a business out of it. Of course, we're going to reach eventually. I think you have to start with the community before you can even go mainstream. And we'll likely get there with some SKUs, but we want to start the right way. And so, yeah, I mean, that's our target. People can say, "Oh, well, are you too fan focused?" I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. For me, I like more fan service than less. I'd rather go through that route than less. So yeah, that's where I see the exact target is.
I think that's a really good message too, because a lot of people I know in this community really felt disenfranchised, right? So hearing that is probably going to make a lot of people feel a lot more comfortable. So Bobby told me earlier, guys, because a lot of people are going to ask this question, he's going to be handling all the customer service. You're going to be talking directly to Bobby. Is that true?
Also, I'll be uploading tutorial videos how to operate our new lineup, our new system, our new game, right? So if any technical difficulties, all will be on my channel. So that way it'll cut time for me in answering a question, which is already there. I'll send link directly to anybody who needs help.
Yeah,
for certain stuff.
Frequently asked questions and stuff like that. That's awesome.
So Bobby will head up the customer service efforts. So of course, we'll have a bigger team than him, but he's going to be the one making sure that he gets the fan feedback from the customer service area, and again, create content. So he's going to be our number one content creator as it deals with how to fix things, how to set up things, how to make things better.
Awesome.
And he's already doing that, just so you know. When the camera went off in the CES booth, we saw that one of the comments being, the marquee looks washed out and blah, 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 blah. He immediately, the second the stream was over, a screwdriver to the machine, removed the marquee, and he's like, why is this washed out? Is it the lighting brightness is too high? The color. So like he's already on it. You know what I mean? Like a dog with a bone. I trust we're in good hands with the customer service. It might be care of.
All right, so I want to clue up because I want to get you guys out of here, and I would love to ask a million more questions. But one thing I got to go on is people are going to be asking about titles. So I want to ask all of you guys this question, and then I'm going to ask a bit of a blue sky question. So first up, what's your favorite classic arcade game of all time? So I'm going to start with you, Bobby.
Street Fighter 2, all the way, baby.
It is. What about you, Kevin?
I grew up playing Street Fighter. I did school playing Street Fighter. I steal my mama's quarter just to play Street Fighter. That's me.
If we're going strictly off money spent, I've lost more funds to Time Crisis than any other one. But if I was just going to say my favorite, I would say right now, every year, my family we all go to New Jersey to hit the boardwalk every summer. And there's an arcade on the Ocean City boardwalk called Jilly's Arcade. And every single year, my son and I go and play Turtles together. And it's a new tradition, but just like as soon as we get there, Dad, are we playing Turtles? So golly, if I could see some Turtles in the near future, I'd be a real happy camper.
Yeah, I'm patiently waiting for an XL release of Turtles. I miss my Turtles cab, so if you can make that happen, I'd be happy. What about you, Dave?
It's funny we ended on TMNT. That for me is what I grew up. Different but same. I grew up playing Turtles on the NES, and funny enough, I told the story on the other stream, but first time I had gone to an arcade, I was telling my mom, like, oh my God, my favorite game from the NES, they put into an arcade. And she's like, no, it started in the arcade and they brought it into the console. Yeah. So for me, Turtles, mainly because I grew up with my sister. She's 4 years older than me. Up until recently, we were like at each other's throat for most of our lives. And TMNT was one of the few games that were cooperative, that and Sega, that I clocked in the most hours. So if we could get a TMNT XL, that would be that would be awesome. I'd be buying that.
And John, I'll save everybody time. We already know your answers. So John's is Bubbles.
Bubbles. I kid about that, but Bubbles is
Bubbles is awesome and a beautiful.
I love Bubbles. You know what? I can't just pick one. I want to just kind of go through the eras, right? So probably in the early era would be probably Warlords.
Yeah, Warlords is wicked.
Yeah,
and then Gyrus and the Missile Command, and then Karate Champ and Yair Kung Fu, and then Street Fighter 2, and then Daytona, House of the Dead, all that. So
yeah.
Wow.
If you do,
I didn't know we could answer with 8. I would have kept going.
I just went through all my through the eras. So because I can't just pick one.
Yeah, really quickly. 279 super chat from Rights Retro Arcade. One of the things that really caught my eye back in the Arcade 1-Up days was I was watching the CES coverage. I think this was 2020. I think I got my dates right this time. And I saw the Golden Axe cab, and I was like, my God, that is beautiful. One company that a lot of people feel is underutilized in this genre is definitely Sega. I know Sega might be with somebody else or working with somebody else right now, but is Sega on your radar?
I have close ties to Sega because I used to work at Sega. I love Sega. I'd love to have a license with them. I just say that. I think, for me, Sega has the biggest library of games that really attract 80s, 90s, and even 2000 fans.
Well, I'll tell you what. For your news drop, I'll say it here first, John. If you get that Golden Axe license ever, I've already got the order in.
Yeah. Can I give you if we do it, I'd love to do a 2-player version instead of a 4-player version.
Yeah,
that's absolutely. Yeah, consider that an auto order, John. So
especially when we have a 5-5. You can put in 2 controllers to play 4 players, so that's also optional too.
Right.
And a Bluetooth.
Yeah. You,
Yeah, I
you
just
know,
don't like 4-player decks in general.
you
And
know what,
online. 4-player
You know what
online, right?
you know what would be cool too is if you could do a little bit more with the Sega stuff, because last time you had Golden Axe, Revenge of Death Adder, which is amazing. But imagine putting Golden Axe the Duel on that too.
Oh my gosh, I don't like that. Oh, sorry.
It's horrible, but
Yeah, I guess you have to, right?
yeah,
All the Golden Axe collections.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
Golden Axe definitely. I mean, again, I'd love to have the Sega license. Sega, listen to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
He sings it in the chime.
Sega.
Sega. That was
Yeah.
good. I like that.
All
I
right,
just
so-
love that intro sound. So iconic.
Yeah.
I can't
so
wait.
iconic.
I can't wait to see DMac and Bobby Voo show together. This is going to be amazing. So
This is
Yeah.
gonna be amazing.
Yes, definitely. It's gonna be fun.
last question, and it's probably going to be similar to the last one. So you named your favorite, but if you had a blue sky and you could do whatever you wanted, what would you like to see, either with Iconic Arcade or another partner? What game would you really like to work on and put out? This time we're going to start with DMac.
Oh my God. Sorry, can you come to me last? I was
Okay,
actually
Okay, I'll
I was
start.
to
I'll be
that.
honest. I was
Start-
reading chat and I was like, these are still underhand pitches. They got to give us the hard questions. But
Yeah.
I digress. Please, someone else take the.
I'll jump in. I know we all love arcades. I in my teens more of a PC gamer a lot of the time. If we could figure out how to do like a Quake 3 arena cab,
Yeah.
that would be sick. I'm just saying, it's a blue sky. I could say whatever
Yeah, exactly.
I want.
Say whatever
It's
you
not
want.
authentic. I know it's not like, legit and hardcore and everything else like that. But man, if I could get a Quake 3 arena tab and we could get online with that, that would be a fantastic day for me.
Sorry, was the question blue sky? Like what? Like
Yeah,
in
just
a-
whatever you
like-
want.
No limitations,
Okay.
whatever
If
you'd
it's
like to make.
possible or not.
Okay, I want a Nintendo, either Switch or Wii, Super Mario Kart arcade cab that you can
Oh,
either
yeah,
sit
yeah.
or stand in, because they
Yeah.
have those at the arcade.
Yeah.
And I would have like 4 all connected Ethernet,
Oh,
hardwired,
the Namco version
and I'd be
one,
racing
yeah.
those. You'd never catch me. I play with my wife all the time on the Switch, just like the handheld version of it. It would be really cool to have like a steering wheel, the artwork, the whole 9. That'd be like perfect.
I'm not a modern guy at all. I would much rather see retro, but I got to agree with you. That Mario Kart that they have in the arcades now is incredible. And there's like, it's one of the perfect games. It would be so good in the arcade.
Mhm. Make it happen, John.
I wish.
Just get
I
Nintendo, no problem.
I wish. For me, I think I've said this before, but Daytona,
Yeah.
8-player Link would be.
Damn.
I say you said Blue Sky, right? I would definitely have in my house an 8-player.
My wallet's gonna hurt.
I know. I'm just saying. That's
Yeah.
my Blue Sky.
Oh, can I add like a bonus? This is so
Go ahead.
random.
Yeah, sure.
On Big Blue, I found out we had what was it, Capcom Sports? That is
Yeah.
a sleeper game. It has
It's a
soccer, tennis, and basketball, and the tennis is
Michael B
actually
hates that
so
game, by
much
the way.
fun.
I don't
it.
hate
Yeah,
it.
it's trying to-
Michael B does not like that. I love that game. I had to have that game in there.
It's like
Not Mars,
NBA Jam, it plus soccer. Like you got like a FIFA game and tennis. It's like you got the U.S. Open, NBA, it's FIFA all in one. It's amazing. I loved it. It was a great game.
It's a good family game. It's a good license to have on there.
Michael's pooping on me. He's like, yeah. Okay.
Bobby, hey,
Full
I love
game.
that game too. Bobby, what's yours?
Man, I have too many things, but I would like a licensed sit down racing cab. Like John
Yeah.
Lee's I want it, but that's what I want.
Which one though?
Initial D, baby.
Initial D, yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
that. That's
I've seen
Blue Sky
it.
Logo
I've
is
seen it at
Initial D.
Dave and Buster's.
$1.99.
Those are very good.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, my Blue Sky is with the racing cabinets. I've always struggled with the Arcade 1-Up racers. I want to love them. I love racing games. But like just the way the cabinets were built, it always seemed like it was just a little too high to sit at a chair or a stool. and a little bit too low to stand at. So, I mean, the arcade experience, I don't know how you do it or how you do it affordably, but being able to put some kind of chair in there, like if you could get Rush and then all of a sudden you got a big green chair, like how friggin' iconic would that be?
Yeah, that's dope.
I love
I mean,
it.
it's just hard to do that, at a good price point.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, maybe we could in the future. Maybe Kevin would want a $1,200 SKU that has a sit down and a 26-inch screen or something. But again, that's sit down cabs are tough to do.
I don't know. Get a
Don, let's make this happen. Initial D, let's go. Initial D, let's go.
all you need to do is
Online play. Oh, it'd be badass. Oh man.
do the table with the flip up screen, and then get a like one of those gamer chairs that sits on the floor.
There you go. Yes, yes.
And then just have your pedals and your steering wheel with your massive screen in front of you. Done.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
I've seen a lot of good mods out there with Daytona and the sit down stuff. It just would be expensive, but like I'm down.
Dude, 500 units.
If we can.
Well,
Dude, that would be a 500 unit run right
if the
there.
community wants it, we will start like a pre-order stuff. And you hit the amount, then yes, we'll go on to. If not, then we just cancel. You can't go, right? It's all up to the community.
All right, guys. Well, I don't want to take up any more time. I know I keep looking at David's piece of furniture back there. I actually have the exact same bookshelf downstairs. It's got my wife's Kneaded Angels over it. I couldn't stop looking at it.
Yeah, well, probably got it from the same place.
Yeah.
I
Anyways,
actually saw a comment earlier about like a bookshelf XL confirmed from my background. They were joking at the.
There's a secret leak contained in that bookshelf. If you can find
this
it.
bookshelf is a hint for the next game. I'm totally kidding. There's a peach, so it could be Pac-Man. You never know.
yeah. John,
Can we start just doing our final stuff? Because I do want to get shout outs.
Yes, absolutely.
So I do want to give a shout out to the Iconic Arcade team, both the Medion and LDOM employees. That you guys have been great to work with, and you have my dedication to make you as successful as possibly can. And thank you for believing in our project. We're doing it together. Thank you for helping bring this group of, I say, home arcade Avengers together. Yeah, so thankful for you guys. And just because I'm working with some other companies, I'm making sure Iconic Arcade, we're gonna do it right, and we're gonna do it well. So thank you guys.
Amen.
And the fans, of course, who have supported this project.
Anybody else?
Yeah, thanks for believing in us. You know what I mean? This was like a second chance. I wasn't sure if the home arcade community would continue on after parting ways with Arcade 1Up. So I'm really happy to have, been welcomed with open arms. That stream at CES, the stream now, it feels really good to be back. And to John's point, there's some really key members who are behind that. Not even just the Iconic team. I mean, Eldhome, Medion, those guys are obviously the backbone to this entire operation. But people like Kevin for giving us the chance with the opportunity. People like Bobby who worked for 2 months to make prototypes and the art. Like, there's so many people. And then of course, Michael, the platform you're providing us to come forward is just incredible. And I speak on everyone's behalf here. Thank you for having us. It's been such a treat, and we're back. I saw the hype. I saw the energy. Yeah. People just wanted something new, and we have the pleasure of giving them that. So it's been a roller coaster, and I'm so happy to see what's next.
And Kevin,
not to be too cliche, but I say thank you for all the fans for being so vocal on this stuff, because when you're going to your C-suite and saying, hey, here's a brand that I believe in, we need to drop a few million to get them launched. Like, this is going to be a big thing. If I didn't have, all of the voices, that I kind of collected and, put together into the initial sell, if you guys weren't so vocal, we wouldn't have been able to, essentially push this thing over the finish line. So you guys are already winning. When this thing comes out to market, you did it. We just moved the pieces. Definitely excited to be part of it, and just seeing everyone get amped about something and seeing the positivity. Like, we all needed this in a big way.
Big time. I agree with that. And Bobby, I'm going to give you a chance to talk, but I want to say something to you personally. I love you, brother. I'm so glad you're back. I know you went through some hard stuff, but it's amazing to see you back in the space, involved in this, and we miss you. And you didn't say it, but you got to say it once, please. Clean like a mother. Come on, give us one.
I'll say that last. Before I do say that, I want to thank especially John D, Adam Cobb, and Scotty Rachel for comforting me through the days that I've been going tough times. And I struggle. I really struggled. I've been stressing, and I've been, keeping it very low key. And it is very tough for me. And I want to thank my fans, my family, my friends, and the community for all the support and love. And there's been some tough times, but I'm a fighter. And thank you all. And John, thank you for letting me work with DMac. And
Yeah.
especially I get to work in the gaming industry.
Yeah, man.
I just want to, thank everyone for all the support. There's a lot of you guys in the community I want to thank who messaged me. Too many names. If I start seeing names, if I leave out some other people's names, I don't feel good. So I'll just say thank you, everyone. And now I am back full force, 100%, and I'll make it better for the community, and it will be great. And not only that, I want to thank Iconic, Peter, and Bianca. It's nice to meet you guys. They are the best. Oh my God,
Yeah,
I love them. Yes, Bianca, Peter. Hope you guys are watching. See you guys soon.
And one more thing, clean like a mother. Let's hear it.
Oh yeah, clean like a mother. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To die for. It's me, Michael B.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Thank you so very much for doing this tonight. We're very excited. I got to go sell a bunch of shit and go make my pre-order on my Street Fighter 2 World Warrior cab.
Yes.
And, yeah, excited to get this thing going and see what's in the future for Iconic Arcade and
Media1Up.
And Media1Up.
And
pre-order now. There's going to be links to pre-order in this video, right? So
get it, guys.
Yeah. My moderator Jason's been putting them up. The Canadian link and the American link's been up, and I'll leave a link in the description as well afterwards. So, how are the pre-orders going? One last hard question: are you happy with the pre-order so far?
When I get an "I love you" message from my CMO, because he's never seen anything remotely like this in the history of the company, I'll go ahead and, quote that on my performance review at the end of the quarter. The traffic, which just shows the interest of the people who are waiting to buy it, like you probably don't want to wait too much longer. Those numbers have been phenomenal. The part that just from a logistics part, I can't wrap my mind around is that when we look at our conversion rate, I get it, basement nerd data. But when I look at my conversion rate, like how many people are coming versus how many people are buying, we sell products every day that ship within 24 hours that have the same conversion rate as arcades that are still in the design phase that are shipping in June. So that kind of just goes to show you the excitement of the community. The people want them, and they're flying. It's the first time I've done something this massive at Spreetail. And we literally just have everybody sitting around just like watching this go through, like how in the world is this happening? It is, to DMac's point about like how crazy the communities can get. It's just a testament to, everyone in this chat and everyone who's going to watch the video tomorrow. Like you guys are nuts. Like to see this is just overwhelming and so exciting.
Yeah, we are so back. Like, thank you very much, guys. Anyways, thank you, everybody. Make sure to follow all these guys if you're not already. Kevin's going to be creeping in all the chats and stuff like that. John, you're going to be taking a back seat from interviews. David's the man who's going to be up in the front, having the interviews so far.
Bobby.
These guys are going to be
David
on the
and Bobby.
show, and it is going to be
Oh,
amazing.
wrong
I
way,
can't
wrong
wait to
way,
watch
wrong
this.
way is this way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on.
David and Bobby are
Weird.
going to be doing most of the shows. I think it's good that I step back a little bit and let them do what they do best. So
Yeah, we're down.
All right, guys.
It's gonna be the DMac and Bobby show. Let's go.
Let's go,
Yeah,
DMac.
Harry, isn't it? Great Harry.
To die for DMac.
thank
Let's
you.
go. Yeah.
Thank you to the East Coasters hanging around. It's my bedtime. I love you all. I'm heading out.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Later, everybody.
Bye.
So Robotron is definitely next, right?
Well, we have that.
Oh, no.